For those of you who have been paying attention over the past week, obviously there were two major, I would say, collaborations in the political content creator space. The first one was obviously Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes. The second one happened just last night between Candace Owens and friend of the show, Norman Finkelstein, which we will discuss this evening. But I bring this up because, as many of you know, there is a split happening on the right now in many ways. And I think a lot of that really has to do with whether or not the future of the MAGA movement is one of America First libertarianism in many ways, or if it's going to be Israel First neoconservatism. Now, if I'm a betting man, I would definitely say that the odds are definitely in the favor of America First libertarianism being the future of conservative politics in the United States. And Nick Fuentes does happen to be one of those leading voices, whether you like him or not. Gotta call a spade a spade. So why do I bring this up? The CEO of the Heritage Foundation, yes, the Heritage Foundation, of which I think is an abysmally horrific corporate organization, but to their credit, rather than succumb to the pressure of the neoconservative, conservative ink bubble, if you will, he was put under a lot of pressure to denounce Tucker Carlson completely for daring to have a conversation with Nick Fuentes. Here's what he had to say in response.
More to say on this in the coming days, but today I want to be clear about one thing. Christians can critique the state of Israel without being anti-Semitic.
Well, right off the bat, he's an anti-Semite for saying such a stupid thing. Any critique of Israel, as we all know, according to Ben Shapiro, is anti-Semitism across the board. So you can't say such a thing. No, you actually can criticize Israel to your heart's content, so you should. And the fact that it is happening on the side of the political spectrum that is armed, yeah, that means change is coming in a big way.
And of course, anti-Semitism should be condemned. My loyalty as a Christian and as an American is to Christ first and to America always. When it serves the interests of the United States to cooperate with Israel and other allies, we should do so with partnerships on security, intelligence, and technology.
Now, let's be very clear. This is the Heritage Foundation we're talking about here. We're not talking about just some random, non-corporate funded conservative organization. We're talking about the cream of the crop in the GOP. It doesn't get much higher than the Heritage Foundation. In fact, most of the conservative talking points and even the concept of judicial review from a conservative bent comes from the Heritage Foundation. In fact, that's where Obamacare came from. Because first it was Romneycare, and Mr. Corporate giant himself, Mitt Romney, with his magic underwear, passed Romneycare in the state of Massachusetts. And as a result, President Obama decided to pass Romneycare nationwide. The brain trust of such a corporate health plan, these guys, they came up with it. And now they're changing their tune on Israel. How much longer could they possibly last when the Heritage Foundation starts to get their mind right in the right way on the state of Israel?
But when it doesn't, conservatives should feel no obligation to reflexively support any foreign government, no matter how loud the pressure becomes from the globalist class or from their mouthpieces in Washington. The Heritage Foundation didn't become the intellectual backbone of the conservative movement by canceling our own people or policing the consciences of Christians. And we won't start doing that now. We don't take direction from comments on X, though we are grateful for the robust free speech debate. We also don't take direction from members or donors, though we are inherently grateful for their support.
All right, that's a lie. We all know that the Heritage Foundation moves to the beat of their donors' drum, like any other NGO, multinational, nonprofit. Just think of the Heritage Foundation like you do as you think of the Center for American Progress with Neera Tanden. They are the exact same thing. And so when this guy, the male conservative, like, again, political ideology aside, they're all the same, but the equivalent to Neera Tanden in the Center for American Progress, this is the same person speaking, essentially, saying, yeah, we are allowed to have a debate about whether or not Israel is going to control our political discourse now and in the future. And so when the Heritage Foundation starts talking this way, you know that the future is pretty bleak for that such an innocent little nation in the Middle East.
And we're adding more every day. This is the robust debate we invite with our colleagues, our movement friends, our members, and the American public. We will always defend truth. We will always defend America, and we will always defend our friends against the slander of bad actors who serve someone else's agenda.
I don't know about you, but that sounds like a direct shot at the Israel lobby and all of their cohorts that have been putting immense pressure on the likes of the Heritage Foundation to denounce this America First anti-Israel movement. Well, it seems to me that this is definitely going to be a sticking point that is not going to work for them. Tucker Carlson is an immensely influential conservative voice who has the bona fides to speak up and out against Israel. And it is deeply concerning for the likes of former colleagues, Sean Hannity, Mark Levin, and the like, because those people aren't liked. Tucker is. Sean Hannity or even Mark Levin, as we've seen, decide to start their own media empire, they don't have anybody. They have a small cohort of people who may have money, but in terms of the people hate them. Tucker Carlson, on the other hand, has a very large following, and it's becoming a lot more substantial across the political spectrum as a result of his firm stance against Israel. Now, this guy, Kevin Roberts, he reads the tea leaves. He knows where things are going. And so do probably a lot of other people. So, however little credit I can give him, I'll give him this much. It takes guts to say what he's saying. And he has a little bit more to say.
That includes Tucker Carlson, who remains, and as I have said before, always will be a close friend of the Heritage Foundation. The venomous coalition attacking him are sowing division. Their attempt to cancel him will fail. Most importantly, the American people expect us to be focusing on our political adversaries on the left, not attacking our friends on the right. I disagree with, and even abhor, things that Nick Fuentes says. But canceling him is not the answer either. When we disagree with a person's thoughts and opinions, we challenge those ideas in debate. And we have seen success in this approach as we continue to dismantle the vile ideas of the left.
So on the one hand, he is correct. Canceling people is not the answer. But then at the same time, being that he is a corporate whore, because that's what the Heritage Foundation is, it is a corporate front for the worst of the worst when it comes to conservative ideology, in my opinion anyway, because it's extremely corporatized. And at the same time, he's right about Fuentes being allowed to have his say. Now, on the other hand, what are these so-called vile ideas of the left? Well, let me assure you, ladies and gentlemen, that as you probably know, my political disposition when it comes to issues of left politics is extremely populist. I am all about the economics. I seldomly engage in the bad faith arguments about cancel culture or woke left ideology, things of that nature. But the Heritage Foundation, probably as much as any organization that is a corporate-funded conservative think tank, as they are referred to in Washington, D.C., they fight as hard as humanly possible against working-class people in this country. They fight against every form of wage increases. They fight against any form of a single-payer healthcare system. That's what the Heritage Foundation does. So while everybody is happy with Kevin Roberts speaking up and out about the importance of language not being suppressed, First Amendment being maintained, that's fine and good, and I appreciate it. But make no mistake, their form of capitalism in their mind is as bad as kill or be killed vulture capitalism as you can possibly get. So that's what you've got. So when he talks about the vile ideas of the left, yeah, they'll frame it in the context of men competing against women in sports. But what they really mean is they don't want any form of economic populism from the left becoming the order of the day. We can use a little of both. I lean libertarian on many issues. I lean to the left economically on many issues too. We can take what's good from all different elements of the political spectrum and make them our own, because we are in a revolutionary change period right now. So while some of the language may seem reasonable on the part of Kevin Roberts, make no mistake, he's letting it be known that when you get right down to it, there is still this vile component of left politics. But if you're going to talk about it, and if you're going to make it a point to kind of dance around the issue of economics, he's not going to be on the side of working people. And there is a substantial portion of the country today, probably is more than a supermajority, that is living paycheck to paycheck. So is Kevin Roberts on your side? Not even close. Appreciate his candor. I appreciate his opinion about allowing other people to voice theirs. But he is not a friend of working people by any means.
As my friend Vice President Vance said last night, what I am not okay with is any country coming before the interest of American citizens, and it is important for all of us, assuming we are American citizens, to put the interest of our own country first. That's where our allegiance lies, and that's where it will stay.
One of the hard lessons that is being realized right now on the part of so many people that believe in economic populism, that believe in the future of this country as an America First country, of which I do, but you have ceded that talking point, you have ceded that movement to people that are, or were, I should say, with Donald Trump, and now they're finding their future movement, which is going to come in many different forms, not the least of which is going to be followed through Tucker Carlson, through Candace Owens, and through Nick Fuentes, the three most influential voices in conservative media that are not on board with Israel.